Hello, I'm Mona Santana. This is my daily gratitude list where I list and talk about 5 things I'm grateful for that hopefully you can relate to as well. Number one, I'm grateful for records, like record albums. I think that we should all be grateful for records and albums. It's funny because they kind of went away for a while and now they're making a comeback, and I love that because I love records. I love that you can have an album and you can a lot of times they have like a gatefold, so it's like a double album, and that's really cool too. But I love that there's a front and a back and that it's big and you can read the liner notes. Records are great because that's, to me, I think it's the best format for music, and I love that they're back, and I really appreciate a record, and I hope that you can too. Number two, I'm grateful for the desert. I love the landscape of a desert. I love the different types of animals, plant life, and I like that the desert is really, really, really quiet. If you've ever had the opportunity to go to the desert, it's really great because then it's this amazing silence that you don't really get if you live in a big city. And I just like that you can hear sounds and they carry much further. I think the desert has a really interesting quality to it, and I'm happy that I grew up near a desert. LA is great because it's near the water, it's near the mountains, and it's near the desert. So you can kind of have just all of those things. And so I love that I was able to go to the desert just periodically whenever felt like going for a long drive. Number three, I'm grateful for light dimmers. Do you ever use light dimmers, when it's like you want the light on, but you don't want it to be super, super bright, like at night you start dimming the light. I love that. I love that you get the option of doing that. These are just little things in life that I feel grateful for, which is kind of silly because they're just like things that you don't normally think about. But that's kind of the point about practicing gratitude, is that you start to, you make it a point to focus on things that are the little things in your life or the big things in your life or whatever the thing is. But it's a good thing to do, to think about small things like light dimmers. But I mean, they're the things that make your life more comfortable. Number four, I'm grateful for garage bands. Have you ever gone out to a nightclub to see a band in a small venue that isn't a concert necessarily, but it's a band and it's some people who get together and they practice music and they put together a show, and they basically do it for no money. And, it's a lot of work for very little payoff other than the actual show. And I've had the opportunity to dance for countless garage bands because I'm a go-go dancer. And so I am personally grateful for garage bands for giving me an opportunity to perform, because I love dancing to live music. It takes a lot of work to be in a garage band because you got to get a lot of people together, and then you got to wrangle them all to get together to practice. You got to pay for the practice space. Then you got to book the shows. I mean, it's a lot of work and there's very little money involved. And like, if you break even, then you're doing good. So that ties in with records. So if you go out to see a band, in a live venue, and they happen to be putting out a record, try and, buy them, because you're really supporting live musicians. And a lot of times these bands make it in a much smaller sort of underground world, which is a world that I've been a part of for a really long time. And so I appreciate very much that there's so much great music that you can go see live without spending, a couple $100 on a huge concert, because sometimes these bands are just as good, if not better, than the mainstream music or the bigger concerts. And so I just love that you can go see an amazing show from a garage band that they just, for whatever reason, haven't made it big. It might not be what people are buying, because it's not like a mainstream music, but it doesn't make it any less valuable. I actually think that most of the great shows that I've seen and or been a part of have been with garage bands. And so try and support them if you can. This is my little public service announcement for garage bands, I guess. But I am grateful for them. Very, very grateful for them. Number five, I'm grateful for turtleneck sweaters or polo neck sweaters. I have to be grateful for polo neck sweaters because I wear them all the time, or I wear them a lot, really. I love them. I have always loved a polo neck sweater. It's pretty much my favorite thing to wear. But I actually recently learned that polo necks, I've always called them turtlenecks, but the right terminology is actually a polo neck because they were invented in England, which is where I happen to be. And that's actually where sportswear in general was invented. It's funny because polo neck sweaters or turtleneck sweaters, depending on what you call them, were originally sportswear for polo. There didn't used to be sportswear, and so polo necks is actually the first type of sportswear clothing, which is interesting because I never really thought of a polo neck sweater as sportswear. I like the history of the origin of sportswear. So if you're interested, look it up. It's pretty interesting actually. Anyway, so I want to thank you very much for joining me today. And if you've subscribed, I want to thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't, I would appreciate it if you did. So I hope you're having a lovely day. I'll see you next time. Bye.